am Jessica Bell from My Wine School, where it is wine your way. And I've already seen some people on the chat roll telling us what they are up to this fabulous Friday night. I have got my sister in the room and co-chef and chef. Co-chef. Well, I wish I was a co-chef, but tonight I am a co-chef. I did a salad, so Karen was making funny faces at it, but you know, it might not be pretty, but I hope it turned out okay. Yeah. You're gonna hear all about it in just a second. If you're wondering how to chat in with us, if you're live, then just off to the right, you're gonna see a place where you can chat in and tell us what you're up to tonight. Right in our audience, just type anything in. You will be taken to this screen where you can sign up if you haven't already and fill in the 5 fields, and boom, you are a part of the conversation. So here we are. This is actually WineCAST number 35, not number 34. Way over 34 by now. But what we're actually doing tonight is going to be doing these Foodie Fridays with a side of wine. Now, we decided to bring it back after WineCAST number 27 back in January. It has had our best after the live show viewing. I mean, we've had so many people tune into it, so we thought, you know what? I guess people like to eat, and I think I'm with you guys. I think part of the reason I got into the wine industry was because I realized I could maybe eat through my workday, right, and just enjoy the food and the wine. So, but we want your feedback tonight. We want to know if you like or what you don't like about tonight's show. We want to tailor it to your needs. And the whole premise behind this is to say, okay, what are we eating and drinking, and is it working? And we want to know what you're eating and drinking too. And if it's working for you, let's share the wealth. And then also we want to kind of cover some top stories in the industry, both food and wine. And you know, it was funny because I had this idea and I thought, well, I don't know if there's enough content to you know, maybe do a weekly show on this. And tonight, I'll tell you, I had so much trouble scaling it down. So my biggest challenge tonight is to shut up, okay? Really, it's gonna be to like not talk so much. But I think it's interesting because there's music news, there's entertainment news, and yet food and wine is a huge industry. And there's no food and wine news show that I know of. Do you know of any, Karen?
No, I don't.
If you guys know of any food and wine shows like that are news related, let us know. I don't see it out there. So we're on a crusade. We're gonna make it happen right here. So, but it is Friday night, so it's all about having fun. There is nothing off limits tonight, so we want to hear what's on your mind tonight. And let's just dive right in. And have you started to see what people are eating and drinking out there?
Yeah, a little bit. Let's see. Brian is eating beer butt chicken. I wanted to talk to you about that later, Brian. I'm not sure what the beer butt chicken is, but with some mushroom risotto. And he is drinking a Marques de Ayala Panza Blanca.
Okay, great. All right, great. So a little beer butt chicken and Marques de that's a tough one. That's a tongue twister, even as a Spanish speaker. Ayala. So, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and by the end, what we're going to want to know is what you think of your pairings. And also, I want to ask you guys if you would switch your dinners with anyone on the chat roll. So, you know, after everyone's put in what they're eating and drinking, you're going to tell us if you would rather have had someone else's. So we're definitely check out the chat roll and see what people are up to. We're going to be checking back in on that. But let us tell you what we're up to. We've got a wine called Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc. So if you could actually show the bottle to everyone. I thought, you know what says spring better than New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc? They are zippy. They are just, what they're known for is this like really refreshing grapefruit, very typical flavor on these New Zealand Sauvignon Blancs. Lots of fruit, high acid, and a little residual sugar sometimes on them, which makes them go down pretty easy. So I decided let's kick in the new spring season with a little New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc and see what goes with it. Mm-hmm. Now here's my suggestion. I often tell people, you think of New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc as your low alcohol margarita, an alternative if you don't want to have the tequila in your drink, because you get that same citrus zip that you might get from a margarita. So tonight, we have a lot of Mexican food. We've got homemade guacamole and chips. And if you could show them the gorditas, Karen, mine are already half eaten, so I'm not showing you mine. But these are called gorditas. They are they have cheese and made from a masa or a dough, I guess you could say, with homemade salsa, sour cream, homemade frijoles. I have a wonderful woman in my life who helps me like helps me live my life, and she is from Mexico. So she helps, she put together all the food for us tonight. I can't take any credit. I can take credit though for that salad. Karen has been, okay.
Should I show it?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So this is my salad. Now, Karen, I'm going to let you try the wine with the food, and I'm going to put you on the spot in a second.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about the salad, and I'll take you off camera so that no one has to watch you eat.
Okay.
But the one idea for pairing tonight was this idea of this low alcohol margarita. Okay, so Mexican food. So Karen's gonna tell us what she thinks of our low alcohol margarita with Mexican food. Now that salad over there. There's another way I think about pairing, and I don't hear this a lot. So I'm gonna share with you this idea that I have is. Often when we try wine, we might smell or taste something in our wine, and like, for instance, grapefruit in this New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, right? And you might think, oh, maybe my food should have grapefruit. Well, I tend to look at it differently. What I think is if I have grapefruit in my wine, I think, what goes well with grapefruit? What other flavors go well with grapefruit? And it's almost like adding a little grapefruit into your meal. So in this case, I thought, what goes well with grapefruit? Mint. I think mint and grapefruit go really well together. I also think grapefruit can go really well. I have beets, freshly sliced Parmesan cheese, sliced almonds, and a lot of mint with some beets and a little vinaigrette on it. So that's my specialty, salads. There's no oven necessary. There is no fancy knife skills to hurt myself. And so my expertise is the salad. So, Karen, what'd you think of the pairings? Did you get a chance to?
Yeah, definitely.
Both of them?
I just got through the gordita so
far.
far.
She's diplomatically avoiding the salad question, right?
I'll do that on, how about this? I'll do it on camera.
Okay, she'll do it on camera. While you're doing that, I'm going to check out the chat roll and see what people are having. So Emily and Allison have mixed green salads with boiled potato and eggs, dill, great idea on that, with extra virgin olive oil and balsamic. Perfect. Yes, you're going with that high acid in your salad. It's going to complement the acid in the Sauvignon Blanc, as well as that dill. That's interesting. Dill is a very vegetal note, and these Sauvignon Blancs can have some of that vegetal note sometimes. So that was interesting. They're also having small snacks: basil with soft Irish cheese, extra virgin olive oil, and fresh ground pepper. Mm-hmm. Nice, guys. So now, what'd you think?
Salad's delicious.
All right, okay. Phew.
No, I really like the mint in the salad, and it really works beautifully with the wine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think between the two, it's a better pairing. I think the gordita works. It's still, it's a little bit spicy, but it's the acid and the fruit in the wine still comes through a bit with the Mexican food. Although the alcohol, you do note it a little bit more, but I think the salad's a perfect pairing.
Woohoo! Maybe
really good.
Watch out, Karen. Here I come.
Yeah.
I'm getting out of the wine business and getting into the food business. Yeah. Karen's like, yeah, whatever. Okay, so yeah, we want to keep hearing what you guys are making and drinking. Emily gave Allison some kudos. She's a great chef. So I also see Chicago Pinot is thinking maybe a steak with some penne and sausage with his. I think he had a Grenache, right, from Spain.
Yep.
That sounds great. And we mentioned what Brian's having tonight. So great, guys. Yeah, keep it coming. Keep us informed and up to date on your news on your end. So let's jump into the first news story of the night. Here's my first news story for you. The 2011 California Crush Report is out. Now, you might say that sounds really boring, but hold on. Don't worry, I'm going to get more glamorous in a little bit, but also this has some implications if you buy wine. And considering you're here on a Friday night watching this, you probably buy wine. So what happened this year with the California Crush Report is that they found out that they were down 6.9% in terms of volume. Now, logically, what happens is the prices of grapes go up. They actually went up 9.5% this year. That's interesting because where does that translate? On the shelf eventually for you in terms of prices. So, it's interesting to see that we might see some hikes in prices, not only from this source, but other sources. And I'm going to get to that in just a second. Now, I want to know if there's any guesses from you guys out there as to which grape varietals experienced the biggest growth and which ones experienced the biggest decline. You have any guesses?
Growth? I don't know. I would stick with the classics. Pinot Noir, maybe, still is growing.
Well, I won't give you the answers yet because I want to make sure we get everyone else coming in. But yeah, so you say Pinot Noir. I will say is you're taking a guess on that one. What I have read is the new trend. This wasn't reflected in the 2011 Crush report, though. The new trend, though, is Muscat or Moscato. Moscato. The millennials are loving Moscato. So it's like Riesling was last year's kind of new guy on the block that was making waves as to popularity. Now it's Moscato.
Is it sweet Moscato
a
or
sweet
dry?
one? Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
The millennials are liking sweeter wines. They like sweet reds. They like Moscato. Very interesting, I think, what's going on. So it's a good gateway drug, right? The Moscato, it gets you into the wine world, and then, the sky's the limit. So anyone else coming in with any guesses?
Well, Emily said maybe Grenache.
Okay.
It's maybe gaining in popularity.
Sure. Actually, it wasn't on the report that I saw, but you were right on Pinot Noir and Chardonnay grew by 15%, both of them. So really aren't expanding. Emily, I'm with you. I wish we would see more Grenache and really start seeing some new grape varietals, but it's really the traditional Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. And then the one with the most decrease, Sauvignon Blanc, by 23%. So, which is really a huge decrease in production over 1 year.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I will caveat that with it is this year's production was right in line with a 5-year average. So it did dip, but it is in line with a 5-year average. However, combine that with our second headline of the day, and U.S. wine consumption is up. Now we've got problems, guys. You do the math. If you have decreased supply and increased demand, I was an econ major and I remember nothing from my econ, from 4 years of econ, but I do remember one thing, and that's that supply goes down, demand goes up, and you've got increased prices. So I wish Vin Economist were here today. He's our wine economist. I think he's out drinking wine, I'm sure. But what's interesting here is that the report said that they had an increase to 3 gallons per capita per year. Okay. Now, what this means is there's 47 million core drinkers. That means they drink daily. And then there's about another 34 million that are marginal. Now, Karen, I'm not even going to ask you which one you are.
I think I'm in the hardcore category.
You were like this,
not
like
just core, but hardcore.
Yeah, you were like the special percentage. Like, wow, she's an anomaly. She's a statistical anomaly. We can't put her in the core. It'll skew results. I want to know what you guys are. I want to know if you're the core drinkers, daily or several times a week, or marginal. Now, I'm having like a total moment of pride here in terms of patriotism. I'm really proud of our country that we're just going up and up, and I do think that I also have a duty to serve, which is to convert the rest of some 300 million Americans in the U.S. to be wine drinkers too. So if you're a teetotaler, watch out. I'm coming after you, okay?
One WineCAST at a time.
Exactly. I'm just making my difference one WineCAST at a time. So now, any comments on any of the stories so far, Karen?
Emily's definitely in the core group. I think we knew that.
Right. Cheers.
But going back, Douglas just had a comment that he thought 2011 was a very difficult vintage. Lots of grapes got flooded when you were talking about the crushing report.
Great, Douglas. So a little backstory to that headline is that Douglas mentioned that there was some flooding, which definitely would have an effect on the amount of grapes that come in. So fantastic point, Douglas. Thank you. Okay. Now, the next story I've got for you guys is that New York declares wine on war. Now, I know you're saying, oh, is that the right title? Doesn't she mean something else? Well, I figure we have enough problems in this world with war that I think we should declare wine on war. Okay, that actually is what I want to say. But the true article did say New York declares war on wine. Now, this is from the Huffington Post. They're not dramatic at all. Like, come on, please. But it's an interesting story. I really think it's interesting because it will affect not only people in New York, but people all over. And that is because the story goes that in New York they want there's some lobbyists who want to push legislation that would require small wholesalers, or not small, all wholesalers, to have their wine in the state of New York for at least 48 hours before it sells. Well, sounds pretty standard. Well, why wouldn't it be in New York before it sells? It's because most of the wine is coming from New Jersey. A lot of these smaller boutique importers and distributors store their wine in New Jersey. It's the two biggest distributors in New York who have facilities in New York. So by passing that legislation, what it will do is will affect a lot of the smaller guys. So I say I'm personally connected because I worked for one of these small boutique importers in New York, and it's interesting. It's you can have a very small business importing and distribution and wine in New York, and it can work because there is such a concentration of restaurants in New York that you don't have to rely on the rest of the country for sales. You can really just focus on Manhattan even. I mean, Brooklyn, the other boroughs and whatnot. But it really does happen a lot. You've got a lot of small producers. Now, again, how does that affect us? Well, it affects us in a lot of ways. Not being from, well, we like to visit New York. We'd like to have the wines. But what New York does, I really think, for the country is it is this gateway for wine and wine trends. And if you're going to require these small wholesalers to come in and create new facilities in New York, which is very expensive, a lot of them are going to go out of business or not be able to do it, or they're going to have to scale back very considerably their offerings. What's that going to do? It's going to scale back all the offerings in New York. And that is going to affect us in all the parts of the states. A lot of these small importers are the brains behind portfolios that come into the country that people from, say, the Midwest can buy from the portfolio. So it's an interesting story. I thought I'm a little dramatic, declaring war on wine, but it attracts the attention of everyone. Yeah. So any thoughts on that one?
No, not yet.
Not yet. I come in. I want you guys to talk more so I can drink more. Okay, yeah. Well then, what's interesting is the next news story we have is actually breaking news from today. Now, how often do you get breaking news in the wine world? Not very often, but dude gets busted with fake wine. Okay, this just came in like 13 hours ago. It was on MSNBC, so this is like legit news. This guy, he's an Indonesian millionaire living in LA, and he is reported to have sold over $1.3 million worth of counterfeit wine. Okay.
Was it grape juice that wasn't fermented?
Right. Is it grape juice that wasn't fermented? No, it's actually probably wine, but it's an interesting story. Well, first of all, I just want to say, is the economy so bad now that millionaires have to steal? Yeah. Come on, you're a millionaire. Yeah. But he, the story goes on to say that he had fraudulent schemes in other industries too. So now we know he's just an all-around bad person. He's not just
that's why he's a millionaire.
Right. Yeah, maybe he became a millionaire because he's good at being fraudulent, right? But what's interesting is that this is a big topic in the wine world. And people are the FBI, in fact, is getting really strict about it. And what you're going to see is not only does it affect us at the top level. So he was profiled in the LA Times as back in 2006 when I think he sold. I have the number. He sold $35 million of wine alone in 2006. He was profiled in the LA Times, and he was bragging about selling or buying wine at like $75,000 a case. I'm sorry. He should be jailed just for bragging about that. That's sick. If you do it, fine, but you don't have to brag about it, please. Anyways, so, but this is at the high levels. And actually, this is a great book. I think Emily's got it on our Quora board or our Pinterest board. This is another great book. It was published probably, I think, at least 5 or 6 years ago now. I read it a while back. But it talks about this high-end fraud business in the wine world. Interesting stuff. So this is a great book to check out. But it does affect us, us common folk, because just last year or 2 years ago, French Pinot they were convicted of being fraudulent, selling Pinot, but it wasn't really Pinot Noir from France. Italy, Italian Pinot Grigio. There is not enough demand, and so there is commonly fraud of Italian Pinot Grigio in the world. It's such a problem in Italy that the Italian police actually have to take wine classes so that they can help identify whether it's really a Pinot Grigio or not. So it affects us all. Now my question to you is this. If you get a bottle and you drink it and you like it and you think to yourself, yeah, I'd pay $10 for this, I'd pay $15 for this, and you later find out that it wasn't what you thought it was, does it matter to you? Okay? Same thing at the high end. Okay, you get a 1982 Petrus, okay, worth thousands and thousands of dollars. You drink it, and it is the best wine you've ever had. You don't care. I mean, hands down. And then you find out 2 years later, which happened to this fella over in Europe, that, nope, not real. Does that change the fact that you enjoyed it so much that one time? I mean, what are you really paying for here? The enjoyment? Well, I don't know. This is a question for you guys. I want to know what you guys think. So, any thoughts, Karen?
Well, I think if it was a $10 bottle of wine and $15 bottle of wine and I really enjoyed it, it wouldn't matter what it was. I would go back and enjoy it. But I think a really expensive bottle of wine, you probably enjoy it because of the notoriety of the wine that you think you're drinking. And you know a lot probably about that wine and the terroir and lots of different stuff that probably comes into play, and so it's not just drinking a glass of wine. So I would be upset about that. Yeah.
Well, this guy, and it was Jancis Robinson wrote a report in the Financial Times commenting on this. And Emily, if you've got that link or that name of that article, I hate to put you on the spot while you're enjoying your wine, but if you got it, put it up for us. But she reported on the fact that this fellow said, I paid for this. This is what I deserve, and he was absolutely not happy. As I think you got a good point. Like if it's $15 and I enjoy it, who cares?
Yeah.
Right. But if I'm paying $6,000 for a bottle of wine, you damn well better give me my wine.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments over there?
Well, yeah, lots of actually comments coming in. So everyone's kind of in agreement. No lying, anytime, no time. Lying bad. So
okay, good.
Any sort of fraud, no.
I'm good.
I guess I was the one that was like, whatever.
No,
$10.
Right. We've got such honest wine peeps. I love it. Okay.
An interesting question I think it was Douglas had was, have you ever tasted a wine that you thought was a fraud or fake?
Interesting. I won't. No, not a fraud or a fake in terms of. Maybe I just don't drink good enough wine. But no. What I have suspected is alcohol levels not being what they are, and that is maybe a less serious crime. But there is an incentive to understate your alcohol levels because you're at different tax levels based on your alcohol levels. So that I have suspected. I try and I think, no way, this is not 12.5%. This is like 14 easily. So that's probably the only experience I've had where I've actually questioned it, but not in terms of what's on the label. Or I have been disappointed. I've tried Domaine Romane Conti DRC, a couple grand a bottle. Disappointment, without a doubt. Now, the thing is you've got to try, at least 12 to 24 bottles of DRC before you'd be able to notice the difference in terms of a real and a fake. And also, I think a lot of places where people find the fakes is actually not so much from trying it, is more through the labels. In fact, this guy from LA got busted because there's a reputable domain in Burgundy, Domaine Ponceau, and he's not a smart dude for not doing his homework, but he basically created a wine that was created before they were making the wine. I mean, hello, that's common sense 101. But so I think, there's a woman on LinkedIn, I've got to remember her name now, but she specializes in this. Oh goodness, I was just reading about her today. If anyone knows who she is, let me know. She's an expert. Anyways, but there are people who actually can look at these labels and really know just by looking at labels, because it's an expertise that's developed just like anything else. So, but great question. Now, No, I'm glad I haven't.
Or not that you know of.
That I know of, yeah. I'm like, what is it? Ignorance is bliss? Is that? Yeah, that's the one. Okay. Any other comments over there?
Well, Allison just said it would be interesting to see what the legal system does with this guy, how they handle this fraud.
Well, they take it seriously. I mean, I know definitely in, great point, Allison. I know definitely in France, big time. Europe, big time. Especially because they have more strict laws about what you can do and not do by law. So people went to jail for the Pinot. I'm almost positive. At least they were looking at jail time. This guy, I'm sure, if the FBI is going after him, this is a serious crime. This is fraudulent. This is, any level of fraud that there is, I think this would fall under. But a great question, Allison. It would be interesting to look into that. Any other thoughts over there, Karen?
Well, Douglas just said he gets more upset when he finds out later that some people blended Syrah in his Pinot.
Oh, yeah.
That happens.
That's often talked about, the idea of Syrah being blended into the Pinot. And, without going too far down that road, Pinot is naturally a very low tannin, low color, low pigment wine, and try and give that to people who want Pinot but want lots of color and they wanted big wines. After Sideways came out and Pinot Noir was the rage, all of a sudden all these cab drinkers wanted to drink Pinot, but they really wanted to just drink cab. So what the story goes is that Syrah was often blended to the Pinots to beef it up a little. But, Douglas, that's been going on forever. They used to take Algerian wine and African wine to beef up wines in France. Syrahs, actually from the Rhone, would help beef up Bordeaux wines, as well as would beef up some Burgundy wines. I mean, this is talking hundreds of years ago they would do that. So that's been going on forever. So I guess, Douglas, interesting point now that I think about it. It's actually very old world for them to add a little Syrah to their Pinot. It's like a 200, 300-year-old tradition that has been going on. No longer, hopefully, but it was started hundreds of years. 100 years. We'll say, I'm going to get into trouble here, but probably right after phylloxera. Definitely phylloxera affected African wine coming into France because they were out of wine. So, but I'm going to stop naming off dates because then I'm going to really get into trouble. So, any other comments over there? Otherwise,
yeah, Emily came in just real quick with, was it Maureen Downey, the woman you were thinking
I think it was. Yeah, thank you. Maureen Downey. I think that name sounds right. Thank you very much. Way to go, Em. Super sleuth.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
And then Terry was wondering, does this happen often in the States that we know of, or in the U.S.?
Well, what's interesting is that they think it happens more. I mean, they know it happens more than what we lead on to, that we are aware of. I mean, this guy sold, if you look at the numbers on this guy, he sold, I said 35 million or something in 2006. And they're only saying he sold 1.3 million of counterfeit wine. Come on. Really, if he sold $35 million of wine, I'm thinking probably more than 1.3. And actually, Terry, this is a fantastic point. The problem with this, and Jancis Robinson talks about it in her article, the problem is that a lot of these people are very successful businessmen or very wealthy people whose reputation is very important to them. The last thing they're going to do is go and say that they were duped. They're going to look like an idiot, right? They're going to be embarrassed about it. So even if they are duped and they know that they're duped, they're going to be less likely to report it. Jancis Robinson talks about how she emailed a number of people regarding this and no one got back to her. It's there's some people who are very outspoken. This book talks about it too. A number of people who file lawsuits who are like, damn if I care. I'm getting my money back. And actually I think they're the smarter, to say, hey, you're not messing with me. But so Terry, yeah, it's probably more widespread than we find out. Probably because of that, is that people don't want to admit that they've been duped. And because you just don't know. How do you know? Without having some kind of analytical check and some expert that is going to read your label for you, it becomes very difficult. So the best thing to do is just buy it from the actual producer. Now, I know that's not always possible, but that is the surefire way to know that you're not being duped. So the last thing I always want to talk about is what's trending. Okay, so tonight what I want to talk about what's trending is our wines are seeing stars. So this is actually just from, I think, yesterday, and winespectator.com was talking about, had Antonio Banderas has his own winery. Now, Emily posted some great stuff on our Facebook this week about Lady Gaga. She's got her own winery. I think we've got Dave Matthews. I don't know any. Let us know if you know of any other. Drew Barrymore, definitely. Yep, that was on the Facebook page as well. And that really inspired a lot of conversation. People are, I mean, it's interesting. And I want your opinion on this because the reason is, you see a lot of people get into the wine business because from the outside it looks like, oh yeah, I can drink wine. I can do this. Mm-hmm. Same with the restaurant business. A lot of stars and people who are not necessarily, let's say, qualified to run a restaurant be like, I can eat.
Yeah.
Like how, I eat all the time. Why? I cook in my kitchen. I can cook for 4 people. It's like.
But I doubt I think these stars are putting their names on it and they have the financial backing. So I think that's what they're contributing to the restaurant, and then they hire a lot of good people to run it for them. I think probably it's the same for the wine. They enjoy wine, so they want to put their name on it and they want to be involved in it in some way, but they hire a really great winemaker and just put their name on it. I don't think that they're there day in and day out doing it.
Well, let's hope not, because, and it's interesting. I think there's like a saying that goes, if you want to, I'm going to butcher the saying, but if you want to make $1 million in the wine business, spend a couple million, or someone knows the quote. I know you do, so tell me what it is. But it's something like, you got to make a fortune in the wine business, you got to spend a fortune, or something like that. I'm like totally butchering it. But it's interesting because it's that idea, it's very glamorous, which is it's what we all are drawn to, is the romanticism and the fun and the fact that we're eating and drinking while we're doing this. I'll tell you, I have no desire of ever owning a winery. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, I have seen enough to know how much work goes into it. I have so much respect for these people. As a restaurant owner, I have so much respect for you. It is a lot of work, and I'm not afraid of work. I just want to drink it, though. I don't want to sell it, and it's hard work and it's rewarding work. But when you see the true side of things, it changes. What you think you might want from it. Mm-hmm. So
not so glamorous.
Not so glamorous, exactly. Well, I think that might. Let's see. I think that's all I've got for tonight. I don't know if there's any other questions, or let us know how your pairings turned out. I really want to know what you thought of your pairings, I would love to know which stories you liked the best too. So here's our stories from tonight. We had the California Crush. U.S. wine consumption is up. New York State Wine Fair. New York State Wine War. Fake wine scandals, and celebrity wine. I want to know what your favorite story was tonight, as well as what you thought of your pairings or other people's pairings as well. Are there any other comments on there? And I'm running a little dry here.
You keep drinking.
I need wine.
Yeah. I'm hogging it over here.
I know. See, she's the super core drinker? Or hardcore drinker. Thank you.
Douglas just had a funny comment. He said that he heard an interesting point this week. Why couldn't these celebrities get behind a grape that isn't quite so popular? Like, do we really need another Pinot Grigio?
Good point. Yeah, kind of like take a risk. People are going to drink your wine no matter what. You may as well have something a little bit more off the beaten path. Okay.
All right, so we've got some people coming in. Emily liked wine scandals busted, and Terry liked U.S. wine consumption up.
All right. Okay. Sounds good. Well, we're going to be doing this again on March 23rd, so definitely come back and see us. Next week on Thursday, March 15th, I believe, we're going to be doing Red Hot Rioja. Okay?
Nice.
So, we're going to be talking about Spain. We're heading over there in June, so, we take any excuse we can to drink Spanish wine. And, we'll be back on March 23rd with Foodie Fridays. Tell your friends if you had a good time tonight. And with that, I think we're going to go finish this bottle and eat all this food. And I hope you guys do too. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. I am Jessica Bell from My Wine School, where it is wine your way.